authoritarian left, well, why are they there? Because there's an authoritarian right.
Yes.
The problem is we expect that from the right.
Yeah.
So this is why we're going through what we're going through now. It's kind of a surprise. Wait a minute, the liberals are doing this?
Well, it's fairly recent.
Yeah.
You know, the silencing of people you
Right.
disagree with. And also the really disingenuous labeling of people as Nazis or
Right.
neo-Nazis or white supremacists just because they simply don't line up with your belief system.
Right.
And it's a conscious decision to do that. This isn't like an accidental mislabeling where you don't really know what the person's motives and who they are. No, you're just trying to diminish whatever position they have so that your side wins. And I think a lot of people feel justified by it because of the current administration, and it just seems like we're on a goddamn pirate ship now. I mean, it's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you're seeing what's going on with the erosion of the EPA and the decision to start drilling. He made a sweeping decision that you can drill anywhere.
Right.
He goes, go ahead offshore. Go ahead. Go just start drilling in that ocean. Fuck the fish. Let's get that oil, baby. Come on. I'll be in my gold bathroom with a giant gold chandelier over the toilet. That guy's crazy. It's a strange time.
It's like something out of a movie. Oh.
It's way crazier than something out of a movie. If there was a president that was this nuts in a movie, you would say that's too over the top.
Yeah.
We played a video yesterday of Trump, the 24 different things that Trump said he was the best at. You know, like
Right.
nobody loves women more than I do. Nobody loves Mexicans more than I do. Nobody.
Right.
Nobody's better at foreign policy than Trump.
Right.
Uses himself in the third person.
That's the one thing about having like Oprah as a president. Can we just have like professional experts that work in this area that know what they're doing, even if they're not celebrities?
Well, I'm a firm believer that position is almost always abused, and that what we really need instead of like one person is like a council of wise people.
Tribunal or something like that. Yeah,
like 18 super smart people that have to write papers on all these different decisions that they make. And
I'd be happy with a tribunal. Instead of a president, you have 3 people, and you elect them, and then for anything to happen, 2 of the 3 have to agree.
But even 3, because the FCC, they took out net neutrality with only 5 people, 5 unelected people.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe 18. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Well, you need an odd number so you don't have a tie. You got to have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, we had Jessica Rosenworcel, is that how you say her last name? From the FCC. She was one of the 5 that voted for net neutrality. She wanted to keep it in place, and she was on 2 weeks ago, something like that, and describing to us like what the situation is like and how there's only 5 people and they're not elected, and they get to decide.
How do they get that job? They're appointed?
Appointed, yeah.
By the president?
I don't know if they're appointed by Trump or maybe they're holdovers. I really don't know.
That'd be pretty easy to stack.
Yes.
Is that what she said?
By the president? By Obama or by Trump?
It says appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate for 5-year terms.
Okay. There you go. So these are new folks then. Okay.
Presumably.
Yeah. And they decided, let's just give all the money to the corporations. Let's let them just block websites and get crazy with throttling internet.
Right.
It's a weird time for this.
Yes, right. So it's just, back to the utopia. Societies are messy, and the only utopian type system would be one that there is no system. You have checks, just nothing but checks and balances, because these catch basins of power, again, back to the cults, they inevitably form, and anybody wants more power if they can get it.
It's just human nature, right?
It's human nature,
Does it go back to
we're a hierarchical social primate species.
Yeah.
The alpha male is going to, if he can get there, he's going to stay there for as long as he can. And the beta males are going to try to undermine him from underneath.
Yeah.
And it's this constant struggle. Again, there are 2 kinds of men, those with loaded revolvers and those who dig. Well, that's why, this, again, sort of a horizontal, bottom-up networking systems is one way to try to counter hierarchical power structures. It doesn't always work, but...
Now, as someone who spends so much time looking for actual truth and facts and scientific data, how concerned are you about the media today, because this term fake news, and
alternative
this
facts,
weird world of attacks on journalism, and then even journalism itself falling short, and then journalism in many venues trying to keep up with the internet and putting out these salacious, clickbaity headlines. Even like established media sources are doing some sleazy shit now.
Yeah, it's a concern for sure. We have to stay on top of it, but there are solutions to this, like PolitiFact, for example, and they're not the only site. Snopes also, ranking the factual basis of a speech in real time. And you can go on like PolitiFact as Trump's giving a speech, or during the campaign when they were all giving speeches, and they would rank them, from true, mostly true, partially false, mostly false, pants on fire. I love their ranking system, and Trump got a lot of pants on fire. So at least there's a counter to it, and now those sites are becoming pretty popular. They're kind of a form of clickbait themselves. Let's go there and find out, how many times this guy lied in his speech. So it would have been nice if we would have had that, say, in the Nixon administration or the Johnson administration, like the Gulf of Tonkin. If this could have been, a whistleblower and called and put out there, so that we didn't drag ourselves into the Vietnam War even deeper.
My thought, and this is a very paranoid thought, is that all this is inevitably opening us up to the truth chip, to the mind-reading chip. That things are going to get so chaotic that we're going to say, you know what, just hit me with the chip. I can't fucking take this anymore. I don't know who's right. Fox News says one thing, CNN says another. Slide it in. Slide it. I want it in my forearm, right here in the forearm.
Yes,
might be our only solution. It might literally be like nature's way of allowing us to slowly accept the symbiotic relationships with this new artificial intelligence.
Yep. I think Webster's just this last week voted alternative facts is the word of the year, or phrase of the year for 2017. Before the year before that, it was fake news was the year of the
Sean
word.
Spicer said alternative facts, right? Was he one forced to try to before
No,
he
it was
resigned?
Kellyanne Conway.
Oh, that's
after
right.
the inaugural size of the audience.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look at the picture. It's not as big as. Well, where'd you get that number? That was an alternative fact."
Yeah, they seem to keep her locked up more now. She seems to be less. She just keeps stuffing her foot in her mouth.
Well, they all have to, because the boss sends them out to say, tell them this, okay?
Could you imagine that poor Sean Spicer guy? When he talks about it now, it's like a guy who's just been freed from prison.
Right. Well, he's probably making a lot of money on the lecture circuit now.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, probably. It's probably very lucrative.
Yep. But if you look at governments, centuries past or thousands of years ago, there was lying and corruption and all that.
Always.
That's old.
Yeah. It's just now it's so blatant.
The yellow press. I mean, where did that come from? That was, whoever's told. No, it was Hearst, William Randolph Hearst.
Yes.
You give me the war and I'll supply you the photographs, or whatever. Yeah, so that's fake news.
Right.
That's
literal fake news. Yeah.
The sinking of the Maine. Let's go to war. Well, what actually happened again?
Yeah. Gulf of Tonkin.
Gulf of Tonkin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That Vietnam War documentary series. I just wanted to put my head in the oven after that and turn the gas on. It was just like, this went on for so long, so many years. What are we in Afghanistan now? 16 years now.
Yeah.
Vietnam War wasn't quite that long, but if you look back to where it started in the 50s, when we weren't at war, we were sending advisors there,
Yeah.
This kind of stuff is just, it's so depressing. We like to think of our government as having enough checks and balances. I think we need more.
I would like to think of our civilization as being something that aspires to a higher standard. Something that is more advanced, because we've learned from the lessons of the thousands of years of written history, and we aspire to a greater set of values.
It's one of the things I like about Elon Musk's "Let's Go Colonize Mars." In addition to the technological problems, how will they set up if there's 100 people there, or 1,000, 10,000? What kind of government are they going to have? What kind of an economy?
Be just maniacs.
And
people that are so crazy they want to die on Mars. Those people are fucking nuts.
It's probably not going to be your average, typical human.
No. Can you imagine you're going to take a 6-month spaceship visit through the cosmos to land on a planet that you're going to die on? You will never come back.
Never coming back.
Unless They're so smart, they figure out a way to build a rocket and shoot back, which they probably won't.
No, but so if you went and you were advising, like, what kind of government would you set up, or sort of social organization to prevent people from stealing other people's stuff, or that we got to work cooperatively to plant the potato things,
right?
and
it's
grow
a good
some.
question.
How do you do that? We have thousands of years of experiments, but they're all messy.
Yeah. No one's ever done it right, which leads me again to utopia.
Yeah. I mean, and is it different to have 10 people, 100 people, 1,000, 10,000? There's a scaling effect.
Yeah.
Where it becomes more efficient the more people you have, but on the other hand, then you get these power, catch basins of power that grow and become corrupt. That's got to happen on Mars. Yeah. It's going to happen.
And also the community gets fractured because you don't know these people anymore. You get 5,000 people. There's no way you can know 5,000 people.
Right.
You can know 500.
Right.
There's Mike. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, Sally. You know those people.
Right.
You get 5,000. You're like, who's that guy? He just flew here. He's from Chicago. Now he lives on Mars. Ooh.
But even small hunter-gatherer groups, they have conflicts all the time.
Yep.
They got to sit down in the little dirt area in the commons ground and talk about it. And then you stole this pig, and the pig died, and now you owe him a pig. Okay, go get your pig. Okay, we're going to settle it. But what happens when someone dies? It's like, okay, you owe 10 pigs. They have these calculations. Like, this is the equivalent of a life is 10 pigs, and that's going to happen no matter what planet we're living on.
Yeah. Did you get any personal insight? I'm sure you do after every book you read or you write rather. But did you get any unique personal insight into this?
I did. The last chapter is on what does it mean to live a fulfilling, awe-inspiring, happiness, fulfilled life. If there's no afterlife, there's no God, whatever. Or even if there is, it doesn't really matter because we live in this world. So it turns out there's research that shows that striving for happiness is the wrong metric. That's the wrong goal. That striving to live a purposeful, meaningful life is what we should be after. And that often entails doing things that don't make you happy. They're not fun. They're not pleasurable. So, like, for example, when you work out, it's not fun in a sense of like a morphine drip. I'm getting a lot of pleasure from this. Afterwards, you get a sense of endorphins, and you feel better about yourself. So, like, there's research showing that if you go out for drinks with your friends, dinner, and so on, that's fun, that's pleasurable, but it's short term. Caretaking for a parent, for example, this shows that this is not fun at all. I've done this for 2 of my 4 parents. I had step-parents. And this was not fun. It wasn't pleasurable. I didn't enjoy it, schlepping my dad around to doctors and hospitals. And, I was just drained by the end of the day doing this. But I felt better about myself. So it turns out research shows that, if you have more long-term goals, both forward and back, forward goals, back reflecting on your past, what you've done, not oriented toward being happy, but being, sort of leading a purposeful, driven life. That's what makes people feel better about their lives. And really, that's all we can do, and it's enough. It's enough to, sort of feel like my life was well worth living. It's worth getting up in the morning. Without the promise of an afterlife, you don't need that. Just like this life, I can make a difference. I can get up this morning, do something that I may not enjoy it quite so much, but, working out. Like I do my 3-hour bike ride. I got to get up at 6:30 in the morning. They roll out at 7. It's cold. It's partially dark. It's like I got to bundle up, and then I got to strip clothes off as I go. So I have to figure this all out. It's not fun. But after the ride, I'm like, I really feel great that I did this. And I had fun with my buddies, but it's not fun like, I had a drink with my friends, and that was fun. That's a different kind of fun. So,
and that fun's okay too.
Yes,
sometimes
it's a balance,
but it shouldn't all be the fun.
Right.
Yeah. Purposeful, meaningful life.
Right. There are people that do that. So I talk about Diana Nyad, who I knew back in the 1980s when I was doing Race Across America, the transcontinental bike race. And Diana worked for Wide World of Sports, and they covered the race. So I would talk to her a lot. She's in the back of the truck with the camera crew. I'm riding along. And she's a really interesting person. She's an atheist. She did the Cuba to Florida swim. She's an ultramarathon swimmer. And she failed to make it back in her 20s, and she came back when she turned 60 and said, I'm going to go for this again. And it took her 4 years and I think 4 tries to do it, but she did it. So she appears on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday show she had for a while. And Oprah's asking her, well, how do you find awe and meaning? No, what do you believe? Well, I'm an atheist. And she described how awestruck she is about the universe and life and what science has told us and so on. And Oprah says something like, "Well, I don't see how you can be an atheist if you're awe-inspired." And then she says, "I don't see why those are in contradiction. I mean, the whole living a meaningful life and being engaged in the world and other people." That is spiritual. That is awe-inspiring. That you don't need God for that. And it was sort of an interesting exchange because Oprah was reflecting kind of the common theme that people have. You need God to have a meaningful life. And Diana's whole point was, no, you don't. You just have to be engaged with the world in some meaningful way, and that's enough.